It's all going here. Hope you guys doing awesome here on a Wednesday. So today we are going to talk about how to think like an entrepreneur. This is going on with the leadership stuff I'm thinking about this week. So let's get into it. Let's start with a story about John. When John was growing up in a small town in southern Illinois, there were two small businesses in town, one being a grocery store and the other being a bank. In fact, it was the only bank in the county, and it was owned by a local family. It was a place where we went to get our checks cashed and when we needed money. The bank was also a place where you went if you wanted to buy a car or any other major purchases. I remember thinking that it was very strange that the owner of the bank had a bank right next door to his grocery store. After college, I moved to California, pardon me, and lived in a small town near Santa Barbara. This town had a few stores, including a grocery store, a drugstore, a liquor store, a couple of bars, and a restaurant. All of these businesses were owned by the same family. The owner of the grocery store was also the owner of the liquor store, the bar, and the restaurant. It was almost as if they were one large corporation. I thought it was interesting that the owner of the grocery store also owned the bar and the restaurant, because I had never heard of this before. When I moved back to Illinois after college, I found out that this was not unusual. In fact, this type of ownership is common throughout the country. So, what does this have to do with business? Well, it has everything to do with business. When you think about it, it's no different than a family owning a business. You should always consider your customers as part of your family. You should also treat your employees like your family members. Cool. It's important for you to keep in mind that the customer is always right. You should always strive to meet their needs and desires. This means that you should always be looking for ways to improve the quality of your products or services. This means that you should try to find new and innovative ways to reach your customers. You should always look for ways to improve the quality and cost effectiveness of your operations. As an entrepreneur, you should always be looking for opportunities to make your business better. You should always be looking for ways that you can make your company more efficient. You should always be looking for ways that you can reduce costs and increase profits. Sounds good. It's important to remember that in entrepreneur, you will face many challenges. You will have to deal with competition, changing economic conditions, and economy in general. As a result, you will need to be creative and flexible. You will need to develop the skills necessary to lead and inspire others. You will also need to have a strong work ethic and a strong desire to succeed. Cool. You will need to be willing to put in long hours, and you will need to be willing to take risks. In order to be successful, you will need to be willing and able to adapt to change. As an entrepreneur, you will need to have the ability to think outside the box and look for new ways to solve problems. Cool. As an entrepreneur, you will need to have a strong sense of purpose. You'll need to be committed to your business and to your customers. You will need to be dedicated to your employees and to your customers. You should always be willing to take risks, and you should always be willing to experiment. Sweet. As an entrepreneur, it is important to always be thinking about ways that you can make your business better. You need to be open to new ideas and new ways of doing things. You should always be willing and able to learn new things. You will need to be able to change. You will need to be flexible. As an entrepreneur, your job is to create value for your customers and employees. You should always be looking at ways you can make your customers happier. You should always be looking ways that you can make your employees more productive and more satisfied. Cool. As an entrepreneur, success is never guaranteed. You will have to put in the time and effort to be successful. If you're not willing to put in some time and effort, then you shouldn't expect to be successful. If you want to be successful, you will have to be willing to put in the time, the effort, and the passion. All right, guys, an article. Hope you guys think it was cool. No, I did. This was done with my AI writing tool I got. It's pretty cool. It works well. I like it. It's called Create. So let me know if you think like an entrepreneur, and if you're an entrepreneur, I'd love to know. Leave a message or comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy your Wednesday. Bye.